Okay, welcome everybody. Before we start this one, I just want to make a little introduction, I suppose, or an announcement. I'm pretty stoked to have this guest on today. It's a topic close to my heart, majorly close to my heart. It's a charity that I'm heavily involved in and probably will forever be involved in, so long as this guy's involved, I guess. So without any further ado, I want to welcome Jesse Smith to the podcast. Welcome, Jess.
Hey Jess, how
Thanks
are you,
very
mate?
much. I'm well. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
So we'll talk about the charity later on, and we'll delve a little bit deeper into that. But first, I just want to get more of a 3D picture of yourself, really. So you've got a few, a few different hats.
Absolutely.
In the local area, and you've been in the local area for how long?
My entire life. So I'm a local. I grew up here in Lismore. I attended Modenville Primary School, a little school to the north of Lismore with, I think at the time I left, there would have been about 96 kids in the entire school. So it was a remarkable place, a great community. I was really, really lucky looking back to actually have my start in education at that school. And then I came into town and I ended up at Trinity as a student, and back then it was enormous. It was 1,400 students or something, 240 in my year 7, so it's like, oh my gosh, what on earth is this, coming from little old Modenville. And yeah, I've been involved in local sporting clubs and all sorts of things growing up here. North Coast, Northern Rivers, brilliant place to live. Then I journeyed to the New England and studied teaching, and I lived out there for 5 years, and I had no plans whatsoever to come back here. I was always destined for the big smoke, and then of course opportunities present that you couldn't get rid of or say no to, and here I am in my 10th year of teaching and back teaching at my old school and really loving it, and now I'm, as you said, involved in all sorts of other things that certainly keep me here. So
it must be awesome to go back to your school and start teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people say, well, wouldn't that be weird? Like, gosh,
awesome.
Yeah, all those people that taught you, now you're actually working alongside of, and no, it's not weird at all. It's sort of, in one sense, it's a homecoming. You know what the place is like, you know what the place is about, it aligns with your values and so on. So yeah, very, very lucky. And to do that in a pretty stunning environment here on the North Coast, where you've got an hour to the Gold Coast, 2 hours to Brisbane, you're on an hour flight down to Sydney, you've got everything at your fingertips.
Beaches, rainforest.
Yeah. That's it. Did you have to go, you went from, obviously, Armadale, that's where you
at UNE.
Yep, the UNE. So did you go straight from there to Trinity to teach, or did you have to go and do your penance? Like my sister's a teacher, she had to go to Lightning Ridge and Walgett.
Well, as I said, I was really, really lucky. In my fourth and final year of my teaching degree, I did a prac back here for 4 weeks, and at the end of the prac, I was sat down by 2 people who were largely responsible for the reason I'm a teacher, and one of them was actually pregnant with their 3rd child and said, well, we'd like to talk to you about what you're going to do next. And I said, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to get back in the car and go back to uni. And they said, no, next year. And where's this conversation going? And they offered me a part-time job where I was going to continue studying to do my honours degree, and I was walking into a senior history position teaching with a remarkable woman who had just stood down as the head of department, but was going towards retirement, but still had lots of energy and lots of knowledge. And I literally was stunned. I had no intention of coming back here at all, and it was not even on my radar. And then to be offered that, I sort of thought, I need to go away and think about this. This is not something that usually happens. And then, over time, I spoke to a number of people, and they said to me, "You're mad if you don't do that. Everything's aligning. Do it." Yeah. And I did that, and I'm now in my 10th year. So time flies, and 10 years on.
10th year and moved right up there.
Well, that progression was pretty quick too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, talk us through that. Yes.
So I'm the assistant principal learning and teaching. So my responsibility is to work with all of the middle leaders in the learning area to ensure that the curriculum's delivered appropriately, that student learning needs are met, I have a big responsibility for staff capacity building and professional learning, and then all the other responsibilities that come with an executive position within, you know, a relatively large secondary school.
Yep.
In 2020. Education's complex, like most other areas of the world these days. So yeah, lots and lots of responsibilities, lots of really interesting and highly challenging things that inspire me to you know, do more and be more and all of those things. So I love the challenge of it. It's relentless.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. But you know, you go into teaching because you're called to do it, not because you think that you're going to get wonderful holidays and it's a 9 to 3 job.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to be a teacher, and I found that that's not really the case.
No.
There's a bit more work involved.
Oh,
There
that's-
is, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So yes, you will have holidays in inverted commas, but what do they actually look like? I try to escape for a couple of days. Your phone's always on. You're always contactable via email or something, and then yeah, the rest of it you're back in the office and you're planning for what lies ahead.
Wow.
So-
Do you still teach now?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So one of the absolute highlights of my day is still going into the classroom.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I still teach Year 12 modern history. I have 16 students at the moment, and then I help out as much as I can with, you know, any of the other classes as required. So last week I walked into history extension and helped that class out for one session. But yeah, that's one of the for me, one of the downsides of going into executive leadership is that you actually don't get to be in the classroom as often as you usually would. And no one at the beginning of their career would go into teaching and think, oh, well, I want to sit in an office all day removed from the rest of the world. You want to be in there, you love it. That's why you became a teacher in the first place. So yeah, it is a bit of a trade-off. I still teach, which is really, really good, and I absolutely love that 1 hour of my day, or if I end up with a double lesson, 2 hours of my day, it's often the same as part of the day. And yeah, great students, you know, very fine human beings in the making, and yeah, it's what I love.
So we were just talking previously, there's other things you do besides teach that's quite up there, and that's the coaching, or not the coaching, the umpiring.
Umpiring, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
tell us
softball.
Softball, yeah.
Yep.
Softball, yes. Well, that actually links back to Modenville.
Yeah,
because
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
my first introduction to that sport was actually from my year 3-4 teacher, who I still believe, Julie Short. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me mentioning her name. Still lives out there. She actually introduced me to, I guess, the world of PWSA, which is the primary school competition in softball, and they were short one time, so I ended up doing a little bit of umpiring, and one thing led to another. I started playing locally at Far North Coast Softball Association, and it soon became apparent to me that my playing career wasn't really going far, and I really enjoyed the challenge of umpiring and being part of the sport. So I started umpiring at the age of 10, and
10, that's young to sort of
That's very young.
Yeah,
be in control of the
absolutely.
game, isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
And you're probably not most liked person on the field, are they?
No. You get the free character.
You're almost like you're like a parking attendant.
Yes, yeah. The free character assessment. It's sort of a good training ground for becoming a future deputy principal of the
Yeah,
school.
that's right,
Yeah, free character assessment's usually thrown in, but it teaches you skills for life, that job, no doubt about it. I've learned so much about people management, communication, conflict resolution, all of those transferable skills that I use every single day in my actual professional life, but also personally, like the way you interact with people. And it's a great sport. I love doing it. I was literally I was on a plane coming back from a softball tournament last night. So I was the umpire in chief at the under-23 state championships in Sydney over the weekend. So looking after 22 umpires and doing all the, you know, allocations for games and dealing with complaints and protests and all of that sort of stuff. So that all goes with the territory.
So it's not just on a local level now. It's big
No,
time now.
yeah, state. So I was. There are 6 levels of accreditation in the country. I moved from level 1, I think, at the age of 12 or 13, through to level 6, which is open level national competition at 21, back in 2011. Then I was fortunate enough to be selected in the International Development Squad, and we travelled over to Christchurch, and the International Director of Umpires flew out from Canada, and we went through a 2-day, it was a very intense clinic, and then we did a 4-day tournament, the National Fast Pitch in New Zealand, and they've got some phenomenal softball players, so it was game on literally, and at the end of that they certified us as to whether or not we met the international standard. So I did that. I think I was 24, or I might have celebrated my 25th birthday that week when I was there. So yeah, went to the international level then. Last year I was fortunate enough to be selected to umpire at the Junior Women's World Cup in Irvine in California, in the United States. So flew over there and umpired, the top 16 junior women's teams in the world. That was an amazing experience, and you're just subjected to so many things that you don't get at a local, state or national level. Like the final plate game that I did was between China and Chinese Taipei, and given the political sensitivities between those two teams, like there was a major protest, a pro-democracy protest from the Taipei spectators in the grandstand, so we had to suspend the game, and security had to escort people out, and blah 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 blah. You've got immense language barriers as well. So do
you have to learn those languages, or
you're working with
universal when you play softball?
You are working with interpreters, but they're often not well versed in softball speak. So it's literally all of those other non-verbal cues that you're using to communicate with them to get off the diamond and go from there. So I've been really, really lucky to do a fair bit of travel with softball. I've met some great people, some lifelong friends. I've umpired and moved through every single level of accreditation with a good friend of mine, Jay Gibson. He did exactly the same thing at the exact same time, almost like identical. He would go for level 5 in Perth, and I was in Launceston in Tasmania doing my level 5. So met great people from all over the world, and it's another really big part of my life, and I'm really, really happy that I've been able to do that now for 21 years. And I'm sure that will continue well into the future.
So now you've got...
Sorry, I was going to go on the next thing.
No, I was going to go... So there's two of you, you and Jay, in the area at that level. Anyone else? Or?
One of the guys who really mentored us, Howard Watt, he actually lives down in the Yamba area. He moved to the international level as well. So without him, he was absolutely crucial in our development, and that was probably from level 2 on. He introduced us to key people in Sydney. Back then, like, we were 13, 14 years of age. We couldn't drive, we couldn't do anything, but we were shipped. Our parents were taking in turns, dropping us to and from the airport and picking us up, and we met people down in Sydney who would do the exact same thing at the other end and took us on board, and that's been a really, really big part of both of our lives, and we're really thankful to people like Howard and so many others down in Sydney who have assisted us and have allowed us to move through levels and enjoy the experiences like World Championships that we've had. So it's brilliant.
Wow. Now, just going on to the next challenge, which Al sort of touched on at the intro there, was something that's close to him, is Jodie's inspiration.
Yeah.
Tell us your role. Where do you sit in Jodie's inspiration? And we can go from there.
Yeah, so I'm the chairperson of Jodie's Inspiration. So my job is to ensure that from a governance level that everything is sort of in order and we're reporting to the right authorities and so on. I'm really well supported with a dedicated team of board members who have lots and lots of experience, far more experience than I do in their respective fields and so on. But that's a great team, and then we have a subcommittee who come together, and they're the people who are literally on the ground organising all the events, making sure that the ball keeps rolling, we keep raising funds, we keep handing it on and so on. And to me, the most remarkable thing about that charity is that the money that we raise remains here and supports local people, and the fact that all of those people who are involved are volunteers.
So when it originated, so it was back in 2015?
Correct, yeah.
It wasn't so structured though, it was more of a dream, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when people joke about the fact that the first meeting which did occur at a local hotel, and notes were written on the back of a beer cooler. That's actually true.
Yeah.
That's actually what happened. And
That's how big things start, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Someone's dream,
Yes.
someone's idea.
Yeah, absolutely, and the power of it, and the ironic thing about the title of that charity to me that I reflect on, it's called Jodie's Inspiration, and call me an English teacher, but there's a possessive apostrophe in Jodie's, meaning all those people that rallied around her were inspiring her to keep up her fight. But the whole time we all knew that it was actually her providing the inspiration, not us trying to support her. And what a remarkable woman to do something as selfless as what she did at that point in her journey. Like, it's incredible. And that's the power of that story is still evident today, and that's why people keep donating to us. And whilst ever that charity continues to do its good work in this community, and it helps people going through a really, really tough time, to me, that her spirit is still here, and that motivates us to keep going, even despite all of the the work and the effort. And as I said, everyone is involved who is involved is a volunteer. They've all got their own jobs, they've all got their own families, but they still turn up to meetings, they still turn up at 5 o'clock in the morning to set up signs or get something done. Like, it's a phenomenal team of volunteers, and I can't thank them enough, because they are literally keeping her dream alive.
Because her motto was live life large.
Absolutely.
And that's what I guess the
She
volunteers
did.
and she definitely lived life large. Like, I knew Jodie. Obviously not as close as Al was. They lived out there, and it was almost like a brother and sister, weren't you? You and Jodie. So we see it all over the place. You see it on the back of trucks and things like that. Like, there's some major events going. Huge amount of money getting raised for that Jodie's Inspiration. What things have you got coming up in the next couple of years, or what's the plan?
So at the moment,
we can go through your history. What have you done? What have you done?
What have we done?
Yeah.
So it actually started. The idea was, as you said, her personal motto was live life large, and that came with a very healthy dose of fun. And her idea was, let's get people together, let's have a stack of fun, let's raise some money for those who need some support. And let's bring the community together and really show solidarity with those people. So out of that came the whole idea of Pink Halloween, which was the first ever event. We were running to a plan, but it was a very, very loose plan, and we had 600 people in the sports centre at Trinity, and it was a phenomenal amount of money was raised on that night. Like, people were just so generous, and it was all being done for others. It wasn't being done for Jodie. Like, she never personally benefited from the $160,000 worth of equipment that were put in St. Vincent's or the Lismore Base Hospital. She never personally benefited from that. But I was really lucky. We had that event in October, and then just before Christmas, Jodie and I were up at St. Vincent's, and the first cold cap therapy machines were being unravelled, and there was media there and so on, and she herself was she was quite unwell at this stage, and just the glow that permeated from her face was just incredible, and that was because she knew she was helping other people, and that's what makes it even more remarkable. She was never going to benefit from any of that. And then we went back, I think, in the January or the February, and the first patient was using that cold cap machine. And to watch that patient interact with Jodie, and they had their own private moment sitting there, that was incredible to watch. And I wish now that there's a photo that captures that, but I wish now that that could have been captured in some other way for other people to actually see what that was like, because that was Jodie at her best, in my view. It really, really was, and the difference it made to that lady, and her treatment experience was incredible. And her whole idea for bringing the cold cap machines here is they weren't in any hospital. The nearest cold cap machine beyond Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, etc., I think there was one down in Port Macquarie, and the whole purpose of those was to freeze the hair follicles so that they didn't fall out, and therefore it provided some type of normality when the patient looked in the mirror, so that there wasn't that visual reminder all the time that yes, you are actually sick. And you know, for some people they enjoy really, really good success. For other people, not so much. It does vary patient to patient. A lot of people think it's just females who use it. Males use those machines as well. And then for us to continue the fundraising through, you know, new events the following year, like we had our first golf day, and then we teamed up with Morris Brothers Football Club, which have been phenomenal supporters of the charity, and you know, run pink rounds, and it just goes on. We try to, you know, mix it up and get as many different people in the community involved, and the money just kept coming. And because we're all volunteers, there's no, apart from the literal operation cost, everything just gets passed through.
Well, they're great events. Like Al and I, we've both been to Pink Halloween. We've been to the golf days. We've been to the football. And they're fantastic events.
Yeah.
Really well done.
And that, you know, that's exactly what you wanted, because yes, there's a serious side around promoting awareness about early cancer detection and all of that. There's the serious side, ensuring that, you know, money is collected and it's passed on appropriately. But then fundamentally, Jodie wanted people to have fun, because life is there to be lived, and we don't know, you know, when our final day on this earth will be. So we've got to enjoy it. And all of those events, like you work with, you know, you guys have been there with, you've seen the committee in action, helping the committee. Like there's a spirit of fun that's in it. So that's those people are happy to turn around and go, yeah, I'll volunteer and I'll turn up at 5 in the morning and so on, and still be there at 7 at night and doing whatever. It's fun. It really is. It's a lot of work. It's hard work. It's on top of everyone's existing load, but it's fun. And everyone knows it's going to locals, and everyone knows that it's fundamentally a good cause.
So the money you've raised at the moment, what have you you've got the one cold cap, or
so we've got cold cap machines in St Vincent's Oncology. We've also replicated that for public patients at Lismore Base Hospital. So there's an integrated cancer care unit there. And then we have committed a further $100,000 to palliative care services in this area as well. So we're about to make a pretty significant announcement as to the development of that promise in the not too distant future, which is exciting. And that'll take us to, what would that be, just over $250,000 invested into this community, generously donated by members of the community. And what are we in 5 years in? So it's pretty remarkable.
What are the stats, as in people affected by, say, breast cancer and cancer in the area? Do you know them?
I did. The national statistics, regrettably, given the different types of cancers, but a lot of people do ask me about breast cancer. Unfortunately, the statistics are going the wrong way, and yes, that's because detection rates and so on are increasing, but the volume of cases is certainly, you know, going in the wrong direction. So once upon a time, I believe, from memory, it was, you know, 1 in 8. Now it's down at 1 in 7. And you know, you also, even on that topic of breast cancer, you have a number of men across the country that are being diagnosed with that as well. A lot of people say, well, it's only a female cancer. Well, it's definitely not. Cancer doesn't discriminate, and we're involved in all sorts of awareness raising initiatives. But towards the end of last year, that statistic was announced, if I remember it correctly. But it's definitely going the wrong way. So we've got a lot of work to do, not just in getting equipment in and helping those people, but also awareness. And one of the advantages of our Pink Tradie Tuesday is we have both female tradies and male tradies, but on the whole, it's male tradies that we see involved in that. And it's really good to be able to have a chance to go out. Like this last November, I was at the Lismore Council depot, and there would have been 150 people there at the depot that morning. There may have been 15, 20 women that were there, but the rest of them were all males. And to have the ability to stand there and say, guys, this is actually serious. You know, men's health is a priority. It needs to be a priority for you, and you guys need to be having conversations with each other. You know, don't put the appointment off. Have the conversation with your partner at home, whoever it may be. And at the end of that, a guy actually came up to me and said, well, it's really interesting. I'm glad that you actually delivered that message to these guys, because I've only just returned after 18 months off, and I had a blood test. It turned out to be cancer. I've had 18 months of treatment. I'm now in remission. But if someone didn't poke and prod me to get to the doctor and follow that up, he said I would have been a statistic.
Yeah. Wow.
So go through Tradie Tuesday again. So what's that involved? It's all the...
Yeah, so Tradie Tuesday, it's right across the area. We've had really good support from local government as well. So Ballina Council has been involved, Lismore City Council, Richmond Valley Council, and it's an open invite to anyone across the area. It's the second, remember, the second last Tuesday in November each year, and we just ask people to dress up in pink, have that important conversation. We have donation tins, or people can, collect some coins and hand them on. Some people, for example, over in South Lismore, put on, great morning barbecues and, take photos, put them on social media. It's just as much about awareness raising as it is fundraising, and it's something that has really taken off, and it just shows the reach of the message, but also, I guess, the level of inspiration that the charity has, has managed to project across the entire area, not just Lismore. Like, it's, Jodie was a businesswoman across the region, not just Lismore, and it's great that some of our events are really targeting that as well.
Well, 2016 she was Lismore Citizen of the Year.
Absolutely, yeah. Lismore Citizen of the Year. She, that was for her, not only her contribution through the charity, but more extensively her work through her businesses, and the involvement she had in terms of women's groups and advocacy in that space. So yeah, Lismore Citizen of the Year, and then not long after that, she was nominated as she was put forward as a nominee for the Rex Airlines New South Wales Regional Woman of the Year, and then that went to public voting and so on. And just before International Women's Day, March, it's almost coming up to the anniversary of that. Yeah, she was actually announced as the winner out of a field, like an extensive field, but the nominees, I think there were only 3 or 4 that went to Sydney, and she was actually she was announced as the winner. Oh, yeah. So yeah, quite amazing. So she was down there in Sydney and had a wonderful day, and then sought to use that award and that recognition to really encourage other women in particular to get involved in community activities, get involved in businesses and so on, and not shy away from any opportunity that presents.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing with the things you run, like the Tradie Tuesday, the golf day coming up.
Can't wait for that.
It's stuff that
all excited for that.
Everyone can get involved in quite easy, so it's not a hard thing to get involved in.
No.
Like, you see some things, some charities want this and that, but everything you guys tend to put on are easy to get involved. It's not a hard thing to do. It's males, females, as well, sort of stuff. So I think that's one thing that you do really well.
Yeah, we tried to make sure that we certainly have a very clear inclusion agenda, so that we have all sorts of events, so that anyone in the community at any point in the year will be able to say, yes, they've got a charity event, and that's something that I can resonate with and I can turn up and support. So yes, not everyone's a golfer. I won't be playing on the 22nd, Adam. I'll leave that to you. My golf days are retired. I've retired since then. But people will go out and have a hack, and they'll have fun, and that's the point of it. And yes, we'll have lots of prizes, and there'll be a winner and so on. But there's plenty of other people that will walk away with prizes. But not only that, they've had a good day. They've found 4 other mates.
Prizes? What prizes?
Prizes.
Away one yet.
Yeah, well, there's a prize.
Actually, we did walk away last year 4th, I think, our team.
So you would have had a prize.
Yes, we did, but it's just a good day. But it doesn't, like Al said, doesn't matter if it's the golf, the football, whatever it is. Yeah. It's exactly what Jodie was about, and having a good time.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like you're there for a charity. You go to some of these things and it's just we're going to feed you. You need to pay money. It's something we all enjoyed to go and do. Yeah. It's the pink Halloween, the balls. That was fantastic. Again, 2 winners just here. 1 year.
Best dressed.
Best dressed. 1 year wasn't.
I think Al won best hairstyle. I think.
Yeah, but he got the more popularity contest. Really was the first year.
Yeah. but yeah, absolutely. Like anyone, anyone can come along. Get a table together, or come with a couple of friends, have some drinks, enjoy the entertainment, go home. It's a good night out, supporting a good cause. Yes, but we are conscious that people have limited supplies when it comes to money, and there are so many other brilliant organisations and charities that people give to. And if there's one thing I've learned, and I've probably always known about this community, is people will give you the last 20 cents in their pocket.
Absolutely.
But you have to be respectful that there are all sorts of other groups and organisations that are equally worthy, and we're not in competition with them. Like, we go along and we support all the others, all the other organisations and charities. They're really, really good. So we're respectful of that, and we hope that we hope that we have enough variety in our events so that a wide range of people in the community can come along, have some fun, learn something, certainly around awareness, and kick the tin for a good cause.
Now, all these things you do, right? So you do quite a bit. What do you do when you have time for you?
What do I do when I have time?
What's your activity that you enjoy doing when you're not doing everything else for everybody else?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, nowadays, if I have spare time, I like to enjoy wasting it. Which is, it's taken me a while to learn to waste time and enjoy that, but I'm a history teacher by trade, so I guess reading would be my outlet.
Okay.
There's nothing too exciting beyond that. Like, if I do have a spare weekend, I like to get in the car, head down to the coast, have breakfast, have a coffee, read, do whatever, catch up with friends, all the usual stuff. There's not a lot of spare time though. There's always something to do, and I don't mind that. I'm certainly not complaining. We often have a tendency of glorifying busy these days, and I don't really like to entertain that. My life is my life. I'm doing the things that I love doing.
Yeah, you're very passionate about what you do.
And if I don't like it, well, I'll make choices to get out of it. So
That's right.
if I really, really, really desperately wanted more time in my life, well, I'd make choices to make that a reality. But right now, I enjoy what I do, and I'll keep doing it. And when I do have those spare time, we'll have a coffee, read a book, have a wine, listen to some good music. It's all good.
So tell us what's coming up next on the agenda for the golf day.
Golf day, yeah,
When's that?
22nd of March, so a few weeks away. We were aiming for the 16th of Feb, but of course, we had a little flood event here in Lismore.
Wow, fancy that.
Yeah, fancy that. March has a bit of a flood omen to it in this town too, but let's hope that we don't get any sort of 2017 style floods. So March 22, Sunday the 22nd. I looked at the sign-on sheet yesterday out at the golf club, and there's limited spots left.
I was going to say, any spare spots? So
yeah,
they can still get in?
a couple, but I would imagine by the end of this weekend they'll probably be filled up. So we'll have a full field of, I think, 230 players, which will be brilliant. We've got about a $5,000 prize pool. That'll be great. Then after that, we actually, last year we had a really, really good night. We partnered with the Lismore Theatre Company, and we went along to a production called Breast Wishes. Absolutely hilarious, but also had a very serious side. So it was perfect for what we were about, and they were really generous in donating 10% of ticket sales for that particular production season to us, and we're really thankful for that. And they actually have something coming up in April called Educating Rita, we are going to partner with them there again. So we'll do something with the theatre, which is another diverse group of people that will come along. So we look forward to that. That's at the Rochedale Theatre on Ballina Road. So check out the Lismore Theatre Company Facebook page. They're really, really active. Again, another great little community organisation.
Nice people, actually. Really nice people.
Doing great stuff. So we'll do that in April. The Mother's Day Classic, which is really the first time that Jodie got a group of people together and came up with this idea. I guess that's where it was hatched back at the Mother's Day Classic all those years ago. We'll have a team down there doing a fun run or a walk, whatever you'd like to do, on Mother's Day in May, and then it'll just keep ticking along. Richmond Rovers Soccer, they certainly want to organise something again in terms of a pink football or soccer round. Depends how you want to name that sport. And then we hope to have a party style event again towards the end of the year. Tradie Tuesday will no doubt creep up, and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So lots of plans, lots of work ahead. But whilst ever we're having those events, we're raising some good coin and passing it on. So
your major event, your ball type thing, nothing in the pipes yet. You're not sure what you're doing.
So we certainly we're certainly in the planning phase. We certainly want to run that style of event every 2 years. So
Yep.
break up our event so it's sustainable for not just the community but also the volunteers running it. So have a couple of fixed events each year and then alternate every
That's a good idea.
every couple of years, so that we can keep reinvigorating those things, making them interesting, getting new people involved, and having a good time.
Because you're right, like the time that's put in, the energy that's put in, and you generally find with most charities it's the same people all the time.
Absolutely.
And they run out of steam, they run out of energy, so they need a little spell too. Yeah.
Yep.
And with you, like you said, keep saying, like, nobody in the charity gets paid at all for any of this at all.
No, I get asked quite often, how much do you get paid?
Yeah.
I said 0, 0, and a few more zeros, and there's nothing in front of the first zero either.
I think
It's nothing.
That's the major reason why I support it. So, Jodie was one of my best friends. Lost a dear friend there. Her idea was inspirational and admirational, and having you on board and know the ethics that everyone's involved, I don't think there's a charity out there that's like this one. Yeah, so.
No, we're as I said earlier, we're really, really lucky. That team of people, and the number has reduced over time, but still, when you look around that table, it's those core people that were still back there in 2015, sitting around writing ideas. Like they still turn up. They still have the burning desire to make that dream a reality in their heart and their mind, and that they'll keep going. They're a phenomenal group of people, and I salute them. I take my hat off to them, what they do and what they give to not just the charity, but through the charity, the community. I think is something that others certainly recognise, but they need to be thanked for it. It's incredible.
And then, like as you said, there's a lot of other charities out there, and especially in this area, there's so many smaller charities.
Yeah.
And the community that we have here are phenomenal in supporting those smaller charities. But Jodie's inspiration's got, it was small, it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like as I said, I was driving down the road the other day and there's a big truck with Jodie's inspiration on the back of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the community we have is phenomenal.
Yes.
And I guess that's a good support for you.
Yeah.
How do people that in this community get involved?
How they get involved? The best way that, or the most effective way that we communicate and liaise with the community is through our Facebook page. There's over 6,000 people there, and
that's just Jodie's inspiration.
Jodie's inspiration, type that in, and you'll find us there. Our website at the moment is undergoing some renovation, but you certainly can email us through the website, and we'll always respond. But if people are interested, we're always looking for new volunteers. If people are interested in doing that, shoot us a private message through the Facebook page, shoot us an email through the website. Be in touch. People can support by donating to the cause through the various collection tins that are still sitting.
Can they donate on Facebook?
They can. There's a donate button at the top of Facebook. There's a donate button through the website. We have all the relevant registrations with the tax office, so receipts and all of that sort of stuff can all happen. If businesses want to get involved with some sort of major sponsorship, we've got prospectus documents and all of that sitting there that we can email out. So there's plenty of ways. People contact us, we'll put them in contact with the relevant people and have the conversations. We're always looking for prize sponsors and donors and all sorts of things, and people come to the party all the time.
We did that year with the camper, and that was great for us.
Yeah, we had
business.
Absolutely major raffle, and wonderful things like trailers being donated or huge televisions and all sorts of stuff like that. The level of generosity literally blows your mind. It really does, and it says a lot about this place. So, come along to events, donate. Whether it's 20 cents or $2 or $200, whatever you can. It's going to help local people and their families to get through what they're getting through. So, there's plenty of ways to get involved. Come along, but Facebook's the big one. jump on there. Everyone's living on social media these days, so.
Well, that's a good sort of little segue, because I noticed with a lot of the guys that do volunteer with Jodie, and it's probably got a lot to do with you and Trinity, are a lot of young people, which I find unreal. Like there's a lot of your ex-students or students that come in and get involved. So it's not just, a lot of people think for charities they're generally my age or you know,
not that old.
But generally older people volunteer and help out.
Yeah.
But I've found a lot with Jodie's Inspiration, there's a lot of young, like, still school kids in there, putting the time in, collecting tickets.
Absolutely.
I guess seeing you too, because a
really
lot of
good.
them are those Trinity kids, and a lot of them seeing you, what you do, and you know, I'm not blowing your trumpet here, but what you do for that school, and you see what these young followers do because they see you. I guess that's why there's that young following for Jodie's Inspiration.
And I guess people have followed the story too, and it's remarkable again, and probably a testament to Jodie, that most people journeying towards the end like she did would probably want to retreat from the public and the public's eye, but she was brave enough to and comfortable enough within herself to share it, in the hope that it made other people's journeys a little bit easier to bear. And so she was very, very public, and as a result of that, people followed the story, and people learnt more about who she was and the rawness of it, and the human level. You know, the fact that she was leaving behind, you know, 2 brilliant kids, and you know, sisters and a partner and all sorts of, and really lifelong friends. She was leaving all of that behind, and she knew that she knew that, and she had reconciled that, and she still had that burning desire to help others. And when people were saying, "Oh, can you do this, or can you speak at this event," and so on, she did. Like when she was really, really unwell, and we had a student leadership day, and we always have a guest speaker, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll come in and speak to the kids." And so as a result of that, they've followed her story, and some of those people who are now volunteering were literally sitting there as Year 11 students all those years ago, and now they're actually volunteering their time on weekends and so on to run events to raise funds and so on, all because she set it up. So the power of her story and the power of her as an individual can't be overstated, in my view. It's wonderful. But you're right. Those young people to have, there's a lot of commentary around, young people today, they're hopeless and they're this and they're that. That's not the young people I work with. That's not the young people I see. There is great hope in the future because of them, in my view. And probably if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be in the job that I'm in. But they come along, they provide energy and enthusiasm and a sense of fun, and they also are committed to that cause, and that's a testament to them. So lots of variety, and we've got different skill sets. Even at our subcommittee, we've got business owners, and we've got university students. We've got all sorts of people. And when you put all of that together and they're united behind a common cause, well, the sky's the limit. And that's what makes it fun doing it as well.
On stories, this is probably one of the bigger ones that came out of it when Jodie was first diagnosed, I suppose, when she touched on that Angelina Jolie, where she what's it called, a mastectomy?
Yeah.
Lost both breasts, made Jodie check her breast, found the lump.
Yes.
So the story goes. Yeah. And then she got the message from Angelina Jolie, which really, I know that touched her heart.
Absolutely. A handwritten note. Yeah. Handwritten note. So I guess that just goes to show the power of the awareness, and when someone of the profile of Angelina Jolie goes public and says, look, this is what has been uncovered, and yes, I need a double radical mastectomy, and everyone go, oh, okay, and the important thing is make sure you do the appropriate checks and so on. And then Jodie was quite open in saying that when she did that and found the lump, the first thing she did, and it was probably the maternal instinct, was to ensure that her own daughter actually felt it, so that she actually knew what it was like. And then of course it all starts to unravel from there. So for her to get that handwritten note from Angelina Jolie, of course you don't sort of open your personal mail and get that sort of stuff, but of course Jodie did.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's still a prized possession, I know, and something that Kayla and Jake would hold dear.
I think we're coming to the end, mate.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Do you want to just mention people that have, come into the charity, helped you out along the way? Just give them a bit of
and where we can get involved besides Facebook. If there's anything else they can do,
just to round it up.
Yeah. Well,
I suppose in your vision where you want to take it, or what.
Which is another thing we didn't touch on was reading through some of Jodie's stuff. Was that originally she wanted to have a home, some for palliative care. Something that was a bit like Jodie, fun.
Yes.
It wasn't just all doom and gloom. You know? And that was one thing. But we were sort of talking a little bit earlier and touched on a few things where in-house palliative care is now probably.
Yeah, Jodie certainly had a grand vision for where she would like to see the charity head, and one of those that she articulated at one of her many speaking events was to have a palliative care style hospice or home where people who did not want to move through palliative care in a hospital setting could have an alternative, and those people who didn't have the opportunity to have that level of care at home could have another alternative as well. When the board started to investigate and put some structures and so on around that and start looking at costs and so on, you're talking about a multi-million-dollar facility, and we also have to be attentive to where palliative care funding and where palliative care services are being directed, particularly by government and non-government agencies who do this day in, day out, where that's all going. And there's certainly a big emphasis on in-home care. So for us, we haven't entirely taken that whole hospice idea off the table, but there's probably a more immediate or mid-term goal that we can work towards, which is, well, how do we make sure that those people who do wish to have palliative care services in home, how do we support them? Those people who have no choice, who go to a hospital, what can we do to make it not as sterile? And that's by no means making judgment to the incredible nurses and doctors who care for them, but the physical environment. How do we make that a little bit more comfortable and family friendly for them, particularly those who regrettably might have children who have to watch that process unravel? What do we do there? So that's our sort of more immediate focus, and then as more funds come in, we continue to monitor the whole landscape as to where things are going, and we'll certainly commit to more goals and have that conversation with the community as we move forward. So there's always more to do, and for us, the commitment at this point in time was to deliver 100,000 to palliative care services, and we're set to do that. And if you think of something as simple as donating $1,000 to, or not even that, $800 to get an iPad, so that someone who is in a palliative situation in a hospital can FaceTime their family.
Yeah.
What sort of difference can, say, $800, $1,000 do just for that?
Yeah.
Like, that's the sort of stuff that Jodie wanted. Yes, we need all the relevant machines and equipment and so on, but when you speak to the professionals who do this day and they have that.
Yeah.
But how do you do the personal stuff? How do you make sure that whatever they are doing, whether they are just there at for pain relief and it's just they need that monitored, or whether they're at the end stages of their care, what do they actually need? So it's a massive field. We take advice from all the people at the coalface doing this, and let me tell you, if you want to meet some of the most remarkable people in the world, go and speak to the palliative care nurses and doctors who look after not just the patient, but importantly their family and friends who visit. They are just phenomenal individuals. Yeah, and so we speak to them, and we make sure we are handing on money that will make a difference to people in that situation. And for us, that's the threshold. If it's not going to make a difference, and it's not going to assist them emotionally, physically, whatever, well, it doesn't meet what Jodie said. Jodie set this whole thing up for, and we'll look at other ways where we can actually do that and be as creative as we can, and be as responsive to the needs of the community as we can as well.
Fantastic! Wow, that's all good. So who is out there that you want to just?
Well, look, it's hard to narrow down individuals, but probably first and foremost in the charity, even though she's not here, it would be Jodie that I would thank, because through my involvement, it's opened up so many different opportunities to be of service to other people, and I've met incredible individuals through that organisation. So I'd certainly thank her. And also her family, who have afforded me an incredible deal of respect for the work that I have done, trying to continue what it is. You're a bit of a custodian, but you don't want to offend people, and there's no manual. There's no manual for any of this. So certainly her family. Certainly my own family. I couldn't do anything that I do without the support and love of my family members, and also my good friends. And then more broadly to the board members who volunteer and turn up, the committee members, as I said earlier, great people. They've got they've got hearts of gold, and I couldn't do it without them. And it's a fun group to be around, and they've basically become an extended family to me. So for that, I thank them. And anyone else in the community who has assisted in any way over the last 5 years, I cannot say thank you enough.
Yep.
It is a testament to this community. You take 2017, when this town was absolutely levelled, we still had multiple fundraising events, and people who were really, really struggling to rebuild post-flood were still putting their hand in their pocket, saying, here, no, it's for a good cause, do it. Some of these people didn't have mattresses to sleep on, yet they were still putting their hand in their pocket, handing over money to us. So, I cannot thank the community enough for its support, and I hope that we have respected that support by ensuring that to the extent that it's possible, every bit of money we get, because we are volunteers, is passed through, and hopefully making a difference at the right level for those people going through their journey.
Yep.
Awesome,
fantastic.
And thank you guys for this.
No, not a problem at all. I think the charity's in awesome hands. Big respect to you, mate. Thanks for coming on today, and
cheers, thank you,
and sharing the story, because I'm sure there's still people out there that don't know the entire story. So it's good to have that story retold.
Yeah,
over
it's
time.
Very, very powerful.
And I will see you on the 22nd.
Absolutely.
Or probably before then, but 22nd.
Bring your A game.
It's on. But people can just come down, have a watch, go and grab a sausage or something, donate some money to the charity.
Big presentation at about 6 o'clock that night. So come out to the Lismore Workers Golf Club. Grab a drink, have a seat.
Come and see Adam get a trophy.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes.
Right, that's us. All right.
All right.
Signing off. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.